Hey, how's it going today? It's Frank here and I'm here with Funny Fridays. And this movie is called Naked. And it's one of those looping type of movies. It's not a looping horror, obviously, because it's a comedy. So it's like a comedic version of those looping type of movies. You know what I mean anyway. And it's about this guy called Rob, played by Marlon Wayans, who a lot of us know about. He's a very popular, famous actor in that sort of industry. And was he not in Scary Movie? I'll probably think of somebody else with a similar kind of name. So I don't think he was probably in it, but I have seen this dude quite a lot of times in movies. And he's not, I would say he's the funniest, but he is a good character in movies. Just that he's not on my level of humour in terms of and obviously personality wise too. Not in the same kind of level of what I'm looking for in this, in actors and stuff like that. And this movie kind of shows it. It is a rom-com. I should have realised that and figured it out before I started watching the movie, before I added it. But because I love looping movies, they can get a bit annoying. But I do love them, and I just thought, why not just put it to my list and watch it? I love looping movies, so why not? It's a comedy one too, so yeah. And it's about this guy called Rob, and he has to repeat the same hour every single time, just to make his decisions for his wedding correct. And yeah, it is annoying. I got to admit, this whole looping stuff, he keeps going back and forth, but that's the point of a loop, right? And he kind of learns from it. I'm not going to mention every scene in the movie because there's a lot of detail. With looping movies, it's tough to explain them because you have to remember what sequence these type of situations were in terms of loops, and you got to try and remember what was said. So I'm going to summarize it. This movie isn't as funny as I thought it would be. I like the acting. The actors are perfect. But I thought, again, with the problem with rom-coms, they make it too corny, too cringy, and they put too much romance in. Yes, it's a rom-com, but there needs to be at least more comedy. If I was 30% comedy, I get there were some odd scenes where they were funny, which I laughed at. Such as a scene where he's in church and there's loops where he's in the church and he gets dressed up in different outfits or whatever, and he keeps getting chucked out. Or there were scenes where he got like one item but he forgot the other item, so he got two of those items but forgot the last item. And then a scene where there was like I think someone said something, was it some birds film or something, and he starts shouting and yelling or something like that. That kind of made me laugh. And when he's also like with those biker gangs as well, and he wants to borrow a bike but they couldn't let him borrow a bike, so they just like they just kind of have like nearly a fight with them or whatever it was, or he has a dance off with them just so he can borrow a bike. And he gets as well, he also has a fight with a guy called what's his name, Cody. I've also seen him, I think he's played by Scott Foley or something like that. Seen his face before and I just can't figure out where. I know probably it's superhero movie or something, I can't remember. And he's like a business millionaire, right? Multi-millionaire businessman. And he's basically like Megan's ex. So basically Megan is the person that Rob is marrying. Just keep up with me here, there's a lot of detail. So please watch it because I'm going to probably miss out a lot of things. And yeah, he's kind of like the cocky and arrogant dude. But I would assume if, when Rob doesn't replay these moments, that Cody probably end up marrying him anyway. And Megan's dad sort of likes Cody more because he makes more money. And he also has an issue with Rob being a substitute teacher. What is it nowadays with people doing certain jobs and people going, oh, that's weird and not good? I don't behave like that. If a person wants to do a certain type of job, let them. At least he's got some type of job anyway. I mean, if he didn't have any job, I can understand why her dad would react that way. But then her dad's into someone money. It just goes to show as well, money isn't everything. If you have someone that does like part-time work, that's okay too. That's fine. You still make a bit of money here and there. Obviously, probably need a bit more, but there's nothing wrong with that. Like these, parents have high expectations for their kids, and I get that. I honestly do. But when it comes to their kids' part, don't have a god for something that you kind of want them to. You kind of want them to be that sort of person to begin with anyway. Having a god for someone, it's like parents have this sort of like vision of like who their child's partner is going to be, and they imagine to have lots of money, to be incredible here, to be perfect, but it's not always the case. And that's where Megan's dad. I forgot the dude's name. Oh crap. Never mind. I'm gonna say Megan's dad anyway. Yeah, he kind of had high expectations. He's sort of like, he always complains a lot. And yeah, Rob is a bit, clumsy. He's, not punctual enough. He's a bit here and there. He may not be the brightest, but he shows on his nose that, yeah, he knows how to love Megan the right way. Whereas Cody probably wouldn't have. Cody wanted Megan to leave her job, and her dad sort of just completely ignored that bit that Megan was talking about. That's not good. Whereas Rob, he wants her to be how she is, which is good. That's a real man right there for any sort of woman. A real man. Same like if it was vice versa. So that's what I'm trying to say here. This is what also the movie's portraying. And the dad eventually likes him, obviously towards him, where he got everything correct and he starts loving him towards the end. And it was kind of a nice moment, but again with rom-coms, I don't like it because I'm in it for more of the comedy. I didn't see much of that, to be fair. And, that was kind of disappointing to me. But the movie overall, it is a game you to watch for funny Fridays. And the fact that he kept them wake up naked in the lift, hence why the title's called Naked, that was also could have been funnier. Where he kept repeating he was talking to Office. The Office is the ones that got him there as well. These are bad guys. You also had a fight with Cody quite a lot of times, which for me, I know with Lupin movies there are always going to be a lot of those type of repetitiveness because you have to. It's like it reminds me of games where you're playing a game and you die and you keep repeating so you can learn from your mistakes. That's what he's doing. So he's basically, dying in these sort of situations and then coming back, and he keeps repeating it over and over so he can learn from it. And he sort of said repeat, and he did go to another wedding, and he wanted to wake up so he can learn from it. So he can't need to repeat these days so that they repeat the hours so he knows where he can go right. And he saw it to another wedding and said, we're going to get to the best part, like talk about her body weight or something like that. And the guy punched her, right? And the fact he injected Cody one of those needles as well, I think some anesthetic or something like that. And Cody did punch him in the church anyway. He also, as the movie went on, he finally realised who actually put him in that lift and how this all happened. He basically, brought back like I'm not going to say what type of person she is, but he brought her back because she woke up in his bed and he was like, what's going on? And he thought they slept together, but they didn't. He was like, he actually wanted to help out of his vows, and somebody paid her to do it. I'll get into that part in a minute. And there was a suit there in his room. And what I like about the loops is that the loops always stop him where the wedding's already over, where the bell just rings. And there's a scene where he tried to get to the bell and he tried to tap the bell like as if the bell's going to listen. And the bell just goes down and he gets knocked down, he wakes up in a lift. And yeah, so he basically finds out more of what's going on. Towards the end, he talks at these hotel security and he's come to my office, you're a victim of a crime. And it wasn't the first time he had something like that. There are two officers at the start of the first loop, well, towards the end of the first loop, they turned into a victim of a crime and they don't know what happened. So he did get arrested then, but he went back to the hotel room. No, but the lift more like. And he sort of looks at the CCTV, they show him what's on the CCTV, and it's actually the Vicky character who, to be fair, it's not that sort of movie where it's a whodunit type of thing, but I was kind of curious of what happened and how he got there anyway. So he drags him to the lift. She wanted to ruin his wedding because she went on one date with him and she got kind of jealous and bitter. So always there's some people on the inside that can ruin you. That's usually the case. Always there's closest people to you that can ruin things for you. And yeah, he thought it was Benny. I think it's like his brother-in-law or something to be or something like that. Yeah, something like that. He thought it was Benny, but then it wasn't Benny. Benny kind of accused him of sleeping with that woman, which never happened. That's why we were in the wedding as well. And then he starts to repeat that part as well. And yeah, he could have got Vicky arrested because the police officers did stay, until the end of that wedding. They did stay for so I mean, he didn't want her arrested. Would it have destroyed, would that have destroyed everything in general, all the hard work? If he did get arrested, I don't know. That would have been the right thing to do, but he kept her because he was like, oh, without her, I wouldn't have met Megan. Yeah, but she did something illegal. You should arrest her anyway. But he did, he did the mature thing and actually obliged for her not to do that. And he could have told people as well that she did that to him, but at the same time, that she would probably get automatically arrested anyway. So he actually did kind of a mature thing, you could say, and not got her arrested. So yeah, I would have probably had her arrested anyway, regardless. But he wanted to leave as she did, and they enjoyed the wedding. Then he had Brian McKnight play. I don't know, some sort of singer, he said. And he also spoke to Brian McKnight when she was like naked and talked about different songs and stuff like that. And yeah, what else? And he starts to figure out that, I don't know if I said, but Cody was also stealing some of like Megan's dad's shares. So he revealed that part as well. So he ratted people out, which, you know what, good on him. I mean, it had to end that way anyway. So it would have been crazy if there was like a part 2 to this. Can you imagine? It'd be a bit too repetitive and annoying. And again, I can see why looping movies aren't for everybody, because it gets repetitive over and over again. And yeah, it does come across annoying. It does. But that's the whole point of what looping is. And if people don't like looping movies, I could totally understand, because they just repeat over and over. But hey, if you're an actor in a movie like that, you probably don't have to remember your lines, because the lines are similar, but they change up here and there. He also was taking part in a marathon, and he was running, like he had to pretend he was running in it, so he cut like a dude in front off just to get front of the line. So he didn't win any money for that. I didn't mention how to start before, because the start of the movie, I think it was more like the introduction, just to get to know the characters. I understand, but it should really start with him waking up in the lift. I know that probably would have been a bit of a shorter movie, so I would have probably cut like 20 minutes off, so they probably had to make it longer somehow. Because I've seen looping movies before, they didn't start like that. They start with the person just straight up in the first loop. They start, Rob's character off with him at school, talking to students, and talking to Megan at the airport, and he bought like a lottery ticket, which then he found out at the end was he didn't win. But then he said he won the jackpot with her, which is kind of nice. You gotta say that. I mean, it's nice. He made like he had good vows, which he did remember. He did eventually remember. I think he made up some new vows, because I like how he copied everything that he saw and copied, what people have said to him into account and turned it into vows, which is nice. Especially what he said to Megan's dad, where when Megan's dad told him that one of the loops, he then repeats that back to him, which is kind of nice. He learned everything there, which you got to rewrite your mistakes somehow. But yeah, he was definitely stressed out with that. I would be too. I would not want to know how to recover from that. I would probably just not go along with what's going on. But the fact he repeats it, telling he's got a second chance out of it. Too many chances. About like 20 chances he had, or whatever it was. I didn't cut him out loops he was in. But it was pretty annoying seeing the lift floor. So which floor was that? It was fairly annoying. But yeah, and the end part was nice, to be fair. That was it really. But not enough funny scenes. I can't remember there was any much humour in it. But again, it's a good concept for a movie. I like the concept of it. A looping comedy, which to be fair is quite rare. But there's probably more looping comedy movies out there that I didn't really notice, and I probably have seen before, just taking note of it. I've only ever known looping horror, because I think horror movies suit the looping regime, because they keep getting killed and coming back and all that type of stuff. It makes more sense. Whereas they took a comedic version onto it. I see what they're trying to do. They make a good effort with it. Had good actors in it. The characters were likable. I can't lie on that one. They had the odd scenes that were okay, I guess. The romance part, well, to be fair, they did it well in that one, because I had more romance than anything, this sort of movie. But again, it just didn't work for me. I wasn't really feeling it. There's probably people that might get emotional over this. I get emotional over sitcoms. I don't know why. Some sitcoms anyway, where I'm close to the characters and there's a connection with them, and you watch it, and it's just because I love them. I love them so much. That's what it is. So yeah, but rom-coms don't necessarily get me. Jexy, that I've seen, is a perfect example for a rom-com. Like, had good balance of romance and comedy right there. a good 50-50. It was perfect. They need to have 50-50. The right amount of humor, the right amount of romance in that, and it was just brilliant in that movie. This movie here, they had an imbalance of both, 100%. And I guess, yeah, rom-coms can work differently, but I'm saying, at least they could have had another 10-15% of comedy in it. I would have probably upped the rating a bit. But anyways, I will get on to the rating now. It doesn't deserve to be below 5. I feel like the movie is slightly better than a 4. I feel like it's not good enough to be a 7 because I don't think it's decent. They had a lack of comedy which kind of kills it. Again, the characters are likable, and I like the story, and you know, some dialogue parts in it too. The idea of it being into a looping movie I kind of like, but I don't know if looping will work in it. I don't know if it worked that much. To be fair, I understand the idea. They tried their hardest, but again, they just missed out more comedy in it. So I don't know what to give it. I'm going to give this a 5. I don't think the movie's that bad, but I don't think the movie's that good. I just think it had good characters and good romance scenes. But other than that, they had a big imbalance which really affects the rating quite badly, to be fair. Because I would have given this a 7 if they had at least 5 more % humour. Probably would have given it a 7 if there's 5 to 10% more humour. That's what it needed. But again, the scenes didn't make me laugh as much. So it disappointed me, because I like the characters, I like the concept of it being looping, but other than that, there's not really much of a positives I can say in this movie. So yeah, that's it for this video. 5 out of 10 is. If you enjoyed the video, please give a like, comment, share the video, subscribe, hit the notification below. So I'll see you in my next video.